Hi everyone, I'm going to continue my series on Grandmaster Miniatures today with Vasily Ivanchuk against Istvan Csom, which took place in Erevan in Armenia in 1989 and was a wild game with some very accurate and great play from Ivanchuk. So, to get into it, began with the Nimzo-Indian Bb4, and here Ivanchuk played an interesting move, which was F3, and this has no official name as an opening. It's sometimes called a Shirov variation because he did play it with some success, although he ended up having 3 consecutive losses with it and then abandoned it. The main idea of it is to take control of E4, but it delays normal development because now the knight can't go to F3. And after the game continuation, which was C5 and D5, is similar to a Benoni setup. So after bishop takes C3 check, b takes C3, knight H5 is an attempt to exploit the move F3, because now the knight isn't on F3, there's a danger of check from the queen. For example, if white displays something stupid here like A3, there's queen H4 check, and then after G3 knight takes G3 and white's in trouble. So in order to prevent this, white played G3 here. Then came F5, E4, F4 and D takes C6, which is the sharpest continuation. Knight to E2 is also playable here, but Ivanchuk went for the sharp lines. And after F takes G3 is looks like a tempting move, but it's essentially incorrect. What's stronger here is queen F6, knight E2, F takes G3, bishop G2, and according to current theory, white still has a slight edge here. But anyway, that's not what happened in the game. After D takes E6 shows F takes G3, and then queen D5, threatening to win the knight with check. And Csom replied with G2, which is now leading into some very sharp lines. But interestingly enough, G2 is better than knight F6, because then there's queen takes C5, G2, bishop takes G2, D takes E6, knight E2, and white's fine here. Other possibilities instead of G2 were queen H4, and then there's bishop G5, G2 check, bishop takes H4, G takes H1 queen, queen takes H5 check, G6, queen E5 is strong for white. In fact, it would probably win the game for white. But anyway, that's not how the game went on. It was after queen D5 there was G2, and then queen takes H5 check, which is better than bishop takes G2, then there's queen H4 check, king F1. Ivanchuk made the right decision with queen takes H5 check. It's a stronger move. So then we saw G6, queen E5, queen H4 check, king E2, G takes H1 queen, and now black has 2 queens against 1, and even after queen takes H8, white in terms of material only has a bishop against a queen, but he also has the initiative, and that proves decisive in this game, as you'll see. After king E7, queen to G7 check, king takes E6, which is the best move. After, for example, king D6, then there's queen F8 check, and king takes E6 would be a losing mistake here. After bishop to H3 check, queen takes H3, queen G8 check, king D6, bishop F4 check, king E7, and it's mate in 6. As follows: bishop G5 check, king D6, rook D1 check, king C6, queen takes C8 check, king B6, rook B1 check, king A5, queen takes C5 check, king A6, and queen A3 mate. So it's the wrong move. After queen to F8 check, king C6 would have been the right move. But even then there's queen takes C8 check, king D6, queen F8 check, king C6 and bishop F4, where black will have to give back one of his queens in order to stop the mating attack, and then white will be ahead of material and should easily win the game. So after a queen g7 check, king takes e6 is the right move. And it's interesting, even though black has two queens here, white is still ahead in position after a bishop to h3 check and king d6. If black tries queen takes h3, then we're back to the same position before, when white will have a mating attack after queen to g8 check. King d6 is exactly the same as before with a mating attack. So after bishop h3 check, the best move is king d6, and then there's queen to f8 check and king c7. Again, this is the best move. After for example king c6, then queen c8 check, and it's very strong for white. After this continuation, bishop f4, and again black will have to give back one of his queens in order to stop the mate, and then white again is a piece up and will easily win. So after queen f8 check, king c7, bishop f4 check, and now this is the game continuation, and black had to give back one of his queens in order to stop the mate. And after queen takes f4 check, d6, white is winning by a long way. He's got massive initiative, and also you notice this queen is hemmed in here, and that'll come to the fore in a second, because after knight c6, queen takes d6 check, Ivanchuk goes after the king, and after queen king b6, and there's queen g3, and this queen is trapped. And here there's no defense to the twin threats of, if black does nothing about it, bishop g2 trapping the queen, and also what happened in the game, which was, in order to stop bishop g3, black tried after queen g3 h5, but that runs into the second threat of the position, which is bishop takes c8, rook takes c8, knight h3 trapping the queen. And after h4 and queen f2, black had to resign because his queen is trapped and he'll have to take the rook, and after the king recaptures, white will win easily. He's got a queen against the rook and he's a couple of pawns up. So it's game over, and a brilliant game from Ivanchuk. He showed nerves of steel under pressure when his opponent had two queens on the board, and amazing calculation skills. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave any comments or thoughts. Thanks very much.